Hello, my name is Dave Wyskiel, and I'm the Parliamentarian for the New England and Bermuda District of Kiwanis. Today's presentation is on the District Bylaws and Policies of the New England and Bermuda District, with special concentration of those provisions that are important for lieutenant governors. If you don't already have a copy of the bylaws or policies, they can be found on our district website, www.newenglandkiwanis.org, and I've given you the actual address on this slide. The goal for today is to review the legal structure of the district, to give you a brief outline of the district bylaws and policies, and then we'll discuss several key bylaw and policy provisions that are important for lieutenant governors. The New England District is incorporated in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and therefore, first and foremost, we must follow the laws of Massachusetts. The first corporate document that gets filed is the Certificate of Incorporation, and that contains basic information about the corporation and its purposes. The next important document are the bylaws. These are the general basic rules for how the district operates. The bylaws contain the most important rules so important that they cannot be easily changed without a vote in the House of Delegates. The policies are aspects of the district operations that are personalized for the district. The bylaws and policies work together as a whole, and the policies often give more detail and more structure to how the district carries out a bylaw provision. In the New England District, the bylaws and policies are organized into 17 different articles, and they each correspond with each other. And each district policy adds clarification and specifics to how to implement the bylaw provision. So here's a brief outline of the various articles of the bylaws and policies. In Article 1, you will find some basic definitions. Article 2 will show you the purpose and structure of the district. Article 3 will discuss who are the officers and their responsibilities. Article 4 discusses the district board and its responsibilities. Article 5 sets out the various committees that apply in the district. Article 6 talks about conventions and elections of officers. Article 7 deals with nomination and election of officers. Article 8 indicates how we handle vacancies in office, especially those of lieutenant governors. Article 9 talks about discipline of officers and what is meant by conduct unbecoming a Kiwanian. Article 10 deals with revenue, which is the district dues and new member fees. Article 11 will discuss finance, the role of the finance committee and budgets. Article 12 contains other authorities that apply to the operation of the district, and one of my favorites is Robert's Rules. Article 13, how to amend either the bylaws or the policies. Article 14 discusses severability, which means that if any one provision turns out to be illegal or improper, all the rest of the provisions remain in full force and effect. Article 15 requires the district to be incorporated and has special provisions for what would happen on a dissolution of the corporation. Article 16 contains other general provisions that didn't fit into any of the other categories. And Article 17 indicates how either the bylaws or the policies are adopted. There's a full PowerPoint presentation that will be made available to you, which has a more detailed outline of what is covered in each article. But for today's presentation, we're going to work with the provisions that lieutenant governors should know. In Article 1, you should become aware of what it means to be a club or an active member of Kiwanis. In the policies, we also define the district and what a division is. Article 2, the purpose and structure. First and foremost, you should know that the name of the district is the New England and Bermuda District of Kiwanis International, and our territorial limits are the 6 New England states and the islands of Bermuda. The purpose of the district is to help Kiwanis clubs and Kiwanis International advance the objects of Kiwanis and the strategic goals of Kiwanis, including building new clubs, strengthening existing clubs, delivering education to our clubs, and delivering service leadership programs and the global children programming that KI sponsors. The purpose of the district is also to promote the interests of the clubs within the district to Kiwanis International. Article 3, officers. The officers of the district are the governor-elect, the immediate past governor, the secretary, treasurer, and a lieutenant governor for each division. Bylaws make it clear that none of these offices can be combined in any one person, and each lieutenant governor must be a member of a club in the division from which they are elected. All officers serve a 1-year term except the treasurer, which serves a 3-year term. No person can serve more than 2 consecutive years as a lieutenant governor. This is to make sure that lieutenant governors don't burn out, and also that we get the maximum participation from as many Kiwanians in a division as possible. It is possible to serve more than 2 years if you get special permission from the district board. If you filled a vacancy, that term of the vacancy does not count to one of your 2 years. Under the bylaws, the lieutenant governor duties are to perform as a member of the board, to provide assistance and support to the clubs in your division. You must preside and plan your divisional meetings and assist the governor and the district board in communicating and implementing the plans of the governor and the district. You must report to the governor what's happening with the clubs in your division. You must visit each club, and we'll talk about those visits when we get to the policies. And while serving as lieutenant governor-elect, you must assure that all of your incoming club officers receive training so they can do their jobs within their clubs. Under the policies, the lieutenant governors have the duties we just discussed. Also, you have special duties if there's going to be installation of club officers. And it's your prerogative to install the officers that'll be serving during your term as lieutenant governor. No other person should be invited to conduct those ceremonies unless the lieutenant governor expressly approves in advance. You also have special duties with respect to a governor's visit. The governor is going to want to visit each club, rather each division in the district. And during those visits, you must coordinate what's happening and make sure that when the governor does visit, protocol requires that the governor will be the last individual to speak at your event. Specific duties and obligations of the lieutenant governors are set forth in international bylaws as well as the district bylaws. But the key one is that you're a representative of the governor and the division. So you must bring the governor's message to the clubs and also any club issues to the governor. You must become aware of the governor's goals, special emphasis projects, and policies and procedures, and give them your full support during the year. You must be a friend, a counselor, and a confidant to every club in the division. And if they're having problems, you must work to effectively assist them when deficiencies are evident. You must make your first initial contact right after you're elected as lieutenant governor, but no later than October 1st when the Kiwanis year starts. And your minimum visits are that initial contact, your club meeting visitation, and at least one board meeting visitation with each club in your division. You must file the reports that are required by KI and the district. And you must make any special visits that are necessary to make sure the clubs in your division are operating efficiently and correctly. One of your key duties is to make sure that all the club officers in the division are provided with leadership training. And we're doing a great bit of training now, and you can coordinate that with the club officers to make sure they attend either in person or online. You should try to attend the international convention so you can see what's happening with Kiwanis on a global scale, as well as attending all district functions, including fall training, mid-year conferences, and district board meetings and the district convention. And once your successor is elected, you should coordinate the initial contact of that lieutenant governor designate with the clubs so there'll be a smooth transition. You are required to have division meetings of all the clubs in your division, and the policies require that there be at least 2 divisional meetings held each year. And one of those is going to be the division meeting for elections of lieutenant governor. If there's going to be a new club charter meeting, you must work with the governor to make sure that happens smoothly. As the lieutenant governor, you will be the master of ceremonies, but the charter presentation and the main address is made by the district governor. As a lieutenant governor, you're entitled to reimbursement of your expenses as provided in the district budget. I want to remind you that any voucher for reimbursement must be received by the district secretary prior to September 30th. Otherwise, you will not get paid. In order to qualify as a lieutenant governor, you must have been a past president, past secretary, or past treasurer of the Kiwanis Club in your division, unless the district board issues a special exception when another candidate cannot be found. The district board, as we saw, the officers are the governor, governor-elect, immediate past governor, secretary treasurer, and lieutenant governor. However, on the district board, the secretary and treasurer do not have voting rights. Just like in any corporation, the management and control of the affairs of the district are vested in the district board. So you have important management responsibilities to the district. The district board is required to hold at least 2 meetings during each administrative year. One must happen prior to October 31st. And as we'll see later, that's because we need to have a budget in place. And if the first meeting is held prior to October 1, say at the district convention, then any actions taken at that initial board meeting will become effective on October 1, unless a different date is specified. The quorum of the board is a quorum of a majority of the total members of the district board, and a valid vote would require a majority of those present and voting when there's a quorum. You are allowed to meet electronically as members of the district board. The key is that all participants must simultaneously be able to communicate with each other. That means not only to hear, but also be able to speak to each other. Normal board meeting rules would apply. However, the policies also say that if any of the voice votes are not clear, then the governor can ask for a roll call vote, but only the adoption or failure of the motion would be included in the minutes, not the actual roll call. Committees. Probably one of the most important committees is the Past Lieutenant Governor's Committee, and their job is to afford advice and counsel to the district board and the governor, and to act as a mentor and resource to present lieutenant governors. So please do not hesitate to contact any prior lieutenant governor or the Past Lieutenant Governor's Committee if you need help within your division. The district also has various administrative committees and service committees, which you'll probably be asked to work on or find other volunteers to help with. Conventions, I won't go into all the convention bylaws, but you should note that at a convention, each club's allowed to seat up to 3 delegates. And if they don't have those 3 delegates, you as a lieutenant governor can be asked to represent that club. If you're going to do that, you need to make sure you understand the club's position on the various issues so you vote like the club would want. Otherwise, all officers and past governors of the district are active members of clubs in the district are delegates at large to all district conventions. Nomination and election of officers. We're going to concentrate on lieutenant governors. So a lieutenant governor must start working on his or her replacement even as early as October 1st of each administrative year. They must hold that division caucus meeting no earlier than October 1st and no later than the second week in April. At the division caucus or meeting, each club is allowed to bring 3 delegates, and a majority of the clubs constitute a quorum at that divisional meeting. As lieutenant governor, you'll conduct the elections unless you're a candidate for election. And if you're the candidate, then the meeting should elect someone else to serve as the chair of the meeting. Each lieutenant governor elect is the sole candidate for the office of lieutenant governor, but we could have additional nominations from the floor. Voting is by ballot. And as with all Kiwanis elections, if there's multiple candidates, the top 2 would then go into a final runoff election. Presiding officer at the division caucus should then report the results to the district secretary, who's required to report them to KI. And the lieutenant governor is not a district officer, so therefore that person is not a delegate at large at the convention. Vacancies in office. For lieutenant governors, if there's a vacancy, the district has to go back to the clubs to have the clubs in that division elect a replacement lieutenant governor. If the clubs don't act within 60 days of being told there's a vacancy, then the district board can elect a replacement lieutenant governor. Article 9 is important because this talks about discipline of officers, including lieutenant governors. You should clearly look at this article to make sure you understand what it means to have conduct on becoming a member of the Kiwanis family, to understand the due process rules for a hearing in case there is an allegation of improper behavior, and what would happen as a penalty if someone is found to have conduct on becoming a member of the Kiwanis family. Article 11 on finance tells us we need a budget by October 31st and that there will always be an annual financial audit. And policies require the district auditor to be appointed every year, and that's one of the first items on the agenda for the first board meeting. Article 12 deals with other authorities, and other than Massachusetts law, as we previously discussed, the district will operate based on Kiwanis international bylaws and Kiwanis international policies, the district policies and procedures, and if nothing else covers a subject, then we go to Robert's Rules of Order. General provisions. I want to just point out in section 1 that the district cannot be used for political purposes, including propaganda. We cannot try to influence legislation or participate for or against any candidate who's running for public office. Our fiscal year matches our Kiwanis year, October 1 to September 30. And in the policies, we have section 16.6 on youth protection. You should make sure you clearly read those provisions and you become familiar with them. And these also require a background check for all lieutenant governors. So just as a reminder, if you don't have the district bylaws and policies, download them from our district website. And to be successful, read them and understand them. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And my email address would be parliamentarian@newenglandkiwanis.org. Thank you for your attention today,